Okay. So agenda for today is a very short one. We will take a look on the client-side web part property pane. That is the one of the aspect or the, let's say, area where we can provide an input to the web part that we have. And the React overview was actually this I prepared for the 2-hour session. So I guess we cannot cover because React, I wanted to touch some concept which are very important in development of SPFx. So I guess in 1 hour we will not. So we today we'll see on the client side web part, and tomorrow we can check on the React thing. React is necessary from my perspective. It is not included in the syllabus, but I see React is one of the important concept that we should have going forward in the development to understand at least the how the overall things are working, how those are configured and all this. Yeah. So yeah, let me show, log in onto the zero slash retail. And let me open the demos and I prepare demo for day 3 here. Yeah, so this is my day 3 demo. I will share this entire directory as well on the Google, so you can take the reference of this project from here. And Node.js. So I'm opening a Node.js command prompt here and system mode. Actually, I have 2 screens, so I'm sharing one screen and she's opening in another one. But let's. So now, let's see. Now you have installed that. You might run this command npm ls.
I
Def
got everything.
hyphen def equals to 0. And we'll straight to this folder. npm ls -g. It's the global one. So it only gives for npm ls on this particular path. When we run this npm list on this path, it will give, but we want to see the global one. So these are our global one. So these are tool chain that we want to install, and you might see the version that we are expecting is 1.18.2 gulp, nodemon, npm, and u. So these are the things that we should have.
What is the difference between these two commands, Nilesh?
Sorry?
npm ls def. What is the difference between these two commands?
Yes, the same command. Actually, you see that I have added this one extra switch here.
Yeah.
So this is for global. And this
Global.
is for local. Now you see, I was in system 32. I will switch to now this folder where I have the project. Now I will run the same command above this one. So this will give me a dependency on the local folder where I am right now. Sorry, did not. Okay, I need to switch it to root then. CD. Demos /3. Let's keep it here. Now I will run the same command npm ls def 00. Def equals to 0. And I will make it a little bit bigger. Now you see, we get these many dependencies over here. And this was giving us only 2 dependencies because these are global tools, which was also installed on system 32 folders. This is system folder, which is not created by the user. But this is the folder which I created. I have project inside it, and we have so many dependencies for the development. So if you wanted to give someone that, okay, the project is working on my machine, and someone is saying, okay, it is not working on my machine. The first thing is that we need to give this dependency stack to him, saying that please verify your dependency according to this. If not, you may upgrade or deprecate or degrade your npm module accordingly.
So dependencies in the sense like the things what we have installed, right? I mean the
Exactly.
tools that
Exactly. Yes. So for example, here you see Gulf 4.0.2 is required, React 17.0.1, TypeScript 4.7.0. So what do you mean by dependency? The npm version of TypeScript or npm package of TypeScript must be having the version of 4.7.4.
Okay.
React types should be having 7.0.45. MS Core, Microsoft, MS Build, Microsoft. So web part base, these all have versions. So this version is the dependency. So there
Okay.
are also upgraded versions available right now. Also there are lower versions available. Then why we are choosing it? Because it is matching with others.
Mhm.
That is the reason to dependency. Like I was expecting you was on this version, and someone is saying, okay, I was expecting React is some bit advanced there. That is the dependency kind of thing. I will switch to code. I prepare a boilerplate code from there. So let's go to the, so we have already seen this folder structure.
Yeah.
What this folder structure is coming up. This is the boilerplate code that is coming up with the Yeoman scaffolding process. When we are
Mhm.
generating a SharePoint project with Yeoman, we get this project. Now we have config files. Here, if you see in the serve.json, the initial page is the workbench, which I have configured to redirect me to the site which I have. And by the way, you create your tenant as well, right?
Tenant, I have tried with that temp URL, Nilesh,
Mhm.
but it's not going through. The temp URL is not working. Maybe I will show you at the end of the session. Just a
Okay,
sec.
okay, okay. We can take a 10 minutes and
Sure,
see
sure.
in this what we have. As if it's not working, because Microsoft had given a lot of now restrictions on the development. When they launched it, no, it was freely available to any also Gmail work also. So if
Oh,
any email was provided, it was not saying the work email only should be given. But now they're saying okay, work email is required.
mandatory.
But day by day they are getting smarter to identify such a things
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. They're
restricting.
getting, yeah. It's a business.
Yes. So yeah, so the only change what I did in the boilerplate code here is this, like I updated this our initial page. This is the
Okay.
page where I will be redirected when I say gulp sir and I wanted to
Mhm.
test my local my web part locally. SAS.json no change, package.json no change. Azure no, we are not deploying to other config.json. We have keep it as same as it. That
Okay.
manifest no change. Now the libraries the same things. What we have. There is no change. Node module is coming up with the npm and source folder now. So what I will do, I will first curl. Wait, I will show you the results and then we'll see how the result is coming up. I guess that will make
Okay.
it interesting to see. So I run a gulp build command right now that will build my project. And any changes I did on a TS file or TSX file, it will take into consideration and build a package out of it. So the compiled versions will be available now. So if I now gulp serve, so the change will be considered while showing.
It's redirecting.
Yeah, so it is redirecting to the page which we given in the initial page name in
Mhm. Yeah.
a serve.json. Now see, this is the property pane WP. This is local. If you see
Mhm.
the category, what we get here, so these are default ones. Okay, so these are coming
Okay.
up with the Microsoft and they have the category. And the category what we see in the local deployment,
Local.
non-local, it is
Mhm.
local. So you can identify. Might be possible that you have given the same name which is available on the web part as well. So you see that
Mhm.
this is local because this is not deployed on page, and frequently used are the one which we tried many times
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
access frequently. That comes under the category of frequently used,
Mhm.
but we always see when we are doing the local development, local.
Mhm.
That updated. Let me delete it once. Property. Yeah, it is a bit slow, I guess. So save. So can you see now the part which we have here is the boilerplate code. and this web part is now available on our local workbench. How we identify this is only our web part? We go to the web part, and we see that this is our tsx file what we have. So welcome to the SharePoint SPFx essentially model and all. So SharePoint SPFx. So we will see, because might be possible that someone else with a default boilerplate has run that code, and we might change something and we are verifying with others. So that might happen. That happened with me. Only because of that I'm saying. Okay. Now we will switch to property pane. What I mean by property pane. So now right now you see here is the text what we have here, and I wanted to change something that allows users to change by themselves. So once I deploy this page, of this web part on this page, user will come and say, okay, right now, let's consider our old example when I was saying that I wanted to show a weather for a particular area. Then I say, I given a default value saying Delhi, or let's say Hyderabad. And then I switch to Mumbai. Now I want to give my area to see the local weather predictions for the area which I have given. In that case, I need not to go to the developer again and okay, try to or ask him to change the parameters for the city. That should be done by myself. That is the one of the use case where the web part property pane allowing users to change. So once we edit the web part, we have the web part property pane over here.
Okay.
So if you see in the default one, we only get the description field. So for demo purpose, I have added these many things over there. Choice columns. This is a slider. This is a toggle button. This is a drop down one. This is a checkbox. This is a normal button. This is the link. So I try to use many as possible
Okay.
from there. And so for example, here it's certified. So if you see, I switch to certified toggle to yes, I say certified. You see the change is happening over here. So if you observe now, yes, no, yes, no. So if I switch this toggle, I'll get the rating. I also included new processor type, which is a toggle thing here. I selected i7, I selected i5, I selected i9.
Changing accordingly.
So change is happening, and very like it is at the same time it is available on the web part. So we can see that change what is happening. So for example, here I was saying that okay, this is the property pane. So I want to give Mumbai. Or from this list, we have keep the list of cities here, and I say actually choose Mumbai, and then I say save web part. Then inside the property pane, when we are seeing choosing the city, we consider this dynamic property at time of calculation, and then we will see we can choose the we will fetch the weather of Mumbai, and we will choose to show that the user. So that is the overall intention behind the property pane there. So currently what we see here is the description field, which is the text field here. So we will go into code now, and we'll see how these properties are coming up. So if we have gone through the basic structure of a web part, we have the one method called get property pane configuration, which is coming up from the iProperty pane configuration. So this syntax depicts, this is a method which implements this interface. If you want to see what is this interface, you can right click on it and go to the definition. Now we have this one. This is an internal file. So this is the method which is readily available with the boilerplate code. And these methods provide it's the numbers and some methods that how the pages can be shown, how the values should be displayed, and show loading boolean indicators and all those things. So basic configuration, what is required to visible there, it is maintained in the system. So that is not available to us for verification or let's say customization. So this is the format. If you see pages, I can extend this one. So I will do like one thing. I will add those things, like minimize those things. And yeah. And then I will add group field. Then group name, groups, and header. So if you see what it expects us to return, so return in everything like this. So it says, I want pages in return, an array of pages. So pages is the object that is expected. Okay. So we need to be adhere or compliant to this format only. So we can't change, we can extend it, but we can't change it entirely. First, it accepts header. Then it sets groups. And groups is a like array of it. So if you see this square icon, this means we can have multiple groups over here. The pages means we can have multiple pages here. So suppose I wanted to give new pages over here, I can do so here itself. Or let's see if I only give pages, say another one here, and then I add header, description. So we need to include that into, we'll add the groups only. Let's see, I've not tried with pages, but groups I have tried this one. Might be possible that we need to add some variables into the interface, what we have here. But let's go with the current one, what we have seen. So we want header. Then we want groups. Inside groups, we want to have group name. And we want to have group fields. So if we go to the web part and we see this one here, let me just minimize it a bit. So header is this one, what we have given over here. So if you go into the code now, you see header is a property pane description. It is coming up from strings. So this is not a data type, but this is an interface. We go here, it is coming from this interface where we have property pane web part string is a of type string. So this is coming up from that. And this is what I'm talking about React, what we have here, because we have interface, we are extending it, we are implementing an interface, we are exporting interface, and we are creating some methods. So we need to understand those things. Yeah, so here. So this is the group field. Now groups. So this is the group name, what we have here. And the group name, what we have given here is a group name. Group fields. So now these all fields, what I have now selected, I'm showing it. These, like this checkbox is also one of the group fields. This one is also, this is also. So these are all group fields. So these fields are falling under each other. So now let's see if I want to make a change to a group name. So here basic group name, and this basic groups name that we are maintaining inside interface only. What is the trick which we have to find that? We have Control Shift F, which will search. Suppose we wanted to see where this variable is coming from. So we can just Control Shift F. We found that this variable has coming up from two places. So if you see now, this is coming from en.enjs. So that is our localized folder, and here we have the group name. So I say customized, because we have this nested folder structure, and sometimes it is difficult to remember and or to memorize all the things where this is coming from. So this is one trick which we have, Control Shift F. So this will search internally in the directory the keywords or the variables that we wanted to find, and we say group name.
Correct. And then Control Shift F, right?
Control Shift F. Yes,
F.
exactly. Group name. I say customized description. I save this one. Now we will go to our sub part again here. And now I will go here, group in, and what I do first, we'll see that change what we did is reflecting or not. So we have updated the group name, this one. So this should change, and the property pane description should be changed. This one. So let's see if I refresh it only, because if you see, if I make any change, the node one was starting. So for example, here I give any change, and you see something is happening in the terminal. Now,
So it
as
will run by default
yes,
automatically.
yeah, you see here it is starting the copy paste
Mm.
job for the webpack and finishing it by himself. So for example, I here just click now, and I did not do anything. So it identify the change has happened. If I save this change, it automatically bundle and publish this thing. But these things work sometimes, sometimes don't. Why I'm saying that? Because many times we have internally referring to the cached version of that browser or that web part. And sometimes it happens that we need to again gulp and build the project once again, and we need to see. Now see, we have the customized group name available. The field name customized description field is also coming up. So this is how we updated our property pane in window. From
These
here,
are all React we are doing in React, Nilesh. These are
currently
all
we are doing in the React framework.
React code. Okay.
Currently we are doing the React framework with TypeScript. So if you see the extension of this file is
Yes.
.ts. .ts means TypeScript. .tsx means the JSX or the TypeScript version of JSX. So JavaScript was like JavaScript XML. JSX was called
Mm.
for JavaScript XML. Then we have TSX. So that is a main reason for me that React should be understood before going into this things. So we will cover that.
Yeah.
I wanted to cover that by myself as well. So groups. Now you see groups are coming up. We can able to change the variables and all. Now we have the text field here. So this was the default one. I added this property pane toggle window over here. Now what I will do, I will take this toggle window once again. And for this group field in the groups, let's say group name. Page time. Group two. And group fields will be my array of the field, and there I will give this as an internal name of this is group 2. This is the name what I will give to this one. And let's see if this change coming up. Now we close this one. We'll simply refresh this once again. Now I have added another group inside the property pane window. And just like we updated the target over there. And you see that we don't see that group now. So what we need to do, we need to go back, break it here. Again, type the gulp field.
So this time we are doing manually.
Yeah. So sometimes our latest changes will not reflect automatically, or one is not doing that. In that case, we have to go in manual interception and build ourselves and serve it again. This is the warning that we can ignore for the local web part which we have developed. And now I will try to. Now see, we have group 2 available here.
Yes.
And then we have created the same. We just copied the same one over here. We added it over here, and then we just created. So possibilities are there, like you have the web part where you need some inputs from the users based on the location, or let's say based on the currency that you want to set, based on the any rule that you could set. So that you could update over here, and then you can use it into a web part for the logical condition or building a logic of the your web part entirely. So this is the main reason behind giving the web part properties, the properties that you could use inside the web part to customize your logic. Yeah, so that is the overall for this web part thing. The groups, how we create extra groups there. So see, we can't understand, or we can't get everything by the Microsoft as ready-made, right? What we need to understand here, how I can customize these things. I will tell you my sorry, my way to identify these things. So I see the pages by the square bracket. It means I have this array. So pages, I'm considering this as an array. So inside this, I have this one thing. So this is one array. Now, if I wanted to go like this, and from there, I'm expecting the exact replica of these things, then I will do one thing like up to groups and group field. So the pages inside this, I was expecting this to be header groups, group name, and we'll see group 2 only. Let's do like that way. So wanted to show you how we can create another page inside this. So this is completed over here, pages. Now I'm creating an extra element from there. So headers. And now I close this one. Control F to have groups closed. Formatting. Now I will copy one group from here. Now inside groups, if you see, we have this one. So I created this new group. I copy this group from here. And this is my group 3. This is group 3. And it's certified and all. So for example, now I have simply recreated this group. This comma is not required anymore. Please stop me in between when you see that you are not understanding, or is not clear. Maybe I will go in flow. And so what I wanted to show you, we need to understand what these things. So square bracket means collection of objects or array. Curly braces means one single object. So we put number of curly braces inside the square bracket means we are putting an object into the array. Yeah, so that will create. So for example, if you see here, this is a square bracket, and inside the square bracket, we are putting two curly braces, means there are two groups which I wanted to show. So I added two curly braces, and the format needs to be same. It needs to be accompanied or compliance with the settings what Microsoft had decided. We can't simply go and say, okay, I want group. I don't want this name to be called group name, but I want. So let's try that. I will say, I don't want to group name. I say my group name. And this will give me the error because this property has not identified in the iProperty pane configuration book. Where this is coming from? This is coming from that interface which I shown earlier. That is the internal one. So we have to comply with that. We have to choose the settings but we can add, remove, or partially we can change the behavior. I said not entirely. But now let's
change the default one.
Yeah, so those are default one. For example, you have to. I will show you the documentation as well.
Okay.
So, for example, here now I have to make the change. I save it. Let's break the node mon, build it again. Just 2 minutes.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah.
And I have built, and I will say gulps up. No, this part is already running. So yeah. Yeah, we will each time we will launch a new workbench. So this
Okay.
workbench is local one. And I say local and edit the web part. Property pane and
It's not
pages.
reflecting.
Pages, what we have here. One and put from here. Header is, I will give some different name over here. It's a description for that. Let's say new page.
Yeah, it's good to identify.
Yes, it is not referring to the one which they changed. So
Yeah.
it is considering them as one. That is my doubt. But let's see. Yeah, if you see now, we have two pages now. So if we go below, this is the one page and this is the second page, what we have. So earlier when we were saying that there was,
Yes.
yeah. So now when you have possibilities that you have more number of inputs and you don't want the user to have the more scrolls, to the bottom and wanted to show at one place, you can add number of pages there. So this is I tried first time, honestly. So
Yeah, it's good.
yeah, so you can add multiple pages there. You can add multiple groups inside there. Inside group, you can add multiple fields there and all. So, okay, overall, we think that, so we see what we can do with a given boilerplate code. Okay, but what if I wanted to change anything or add anything by myself, which is not defined in the boilerplate code? For example, how I came to know this property pane toggle is this one, property pane
Yeah.
slider is this one. So these all, if you go on this one, or simply let's say this is available in the boilerplate code. I quickly go here and I go on property pane text field. And this text field is coming up from the property pane text field. So this is an interface. Okay. So this property pane text field, I implemented this interface. Interface, I will go in here. And this is the interface which I want. So interface always have I
Yes.
fixed over here. So we copy this field. So we understand what it called in the way of Microsoft. Okay. I say property pane field SPFx. And we need to go to the way where we have here. Possible.
Okay.
So this is the default one, but yeah, extend. This is for custom one. Not, we don't want custom. I want to show where are all the, wait a minute, not this way it is happening. So I will go. There is a namespace that is coming up with this one. So if you go in import in the boilerplate code, these all I have added. So I property pane configuration is coming up from Microsoft.sp property pane. So we will see this is the npm package what we have, and I go to this one, and spfx is the extension which I want to put, and then go to package. So this is the package. Now you see the list. So what I have added over here, for example, I added a toggle button. Yeah. Property pane toggle. How I came to know about this? Property pane toggle props, or property pane toggle props. So this props is nothing but a property of the component, but property pane toggle is the control which Microsoft has provided himself. Property pane text field Property pane spin button. Spinner is outdated now. It has been changed by the slider now. Property pane header and link props, group fields, button controls. So
These
button
are all
controls.
controls.
These many controls we can include. So for example,
Okay.
we wanted to include one more button. So we'll choose property pane button. So property pane button, I click on this one. Now you see, this is the property pane button enum. Enum is for enumeration. So this object has been defined into this SP property pane namespace has these fields defined. Okay, what I mean by fields. So if I go over here, I expand this one. These are the things which I can explain or I can mention in this one. I cannot go simply and say, okay, now your color should be red. Okay, it's a, okay, I don't understand what is meant by color. This object say, okay, what do you mean by color? Although it is explanatory that color means your background color or what, but it say this is known property and it does not exist in the I property plane toggle props. Where this I property plane toggle props coming up from? This is the property. So I property plane toggle props. So as I shown in the last one, before that, right here. Toggle. I property pane toggle props. So we try to find that within the Microsoft given package, and we say that these only properties are available. We can't choose anything other than that. So if someone says, okay, what things you can do with this one more, what is provided, what is not provided by Microsoft, then you can refer to this namespace within the Microsoft and check where what things you can do. Off text means when the toggle is off, what text we wanted to show. On text means toggle is selected, what text we wanted to show. Key is the unique identifier for that. Inline label, what we can disable, how to check. We can see default it is checked. So we have to set these attributes. And checked is Boolean. So we can go in this way. So what I wanted to mention here, what personally I have gone through this Microsoft documentation from my perspective really sucks. So they don't have very elaborate or very understandable documentation. But whatever we have, we can go through this directly and we can check how things are configured inside and then how I can use it. Of course, there you will get some errors, but then you are on the right path. Besides, if you say, okay, this is the things what I wanted to change and I created my custom way. So development efforts will be also increased. So our first or our first preference should be given to the what are available things in the Microsoft ecosystem, even though that is make a bit harder rather than going for third party smooth components, but it is readily available and some efforts we can configure it up to certain level where the business or the user will be ready to accept it. So this is how I did it. And let's say here page type is also.
So I have one question, Nilesh,
Yeah,
here.
please.
So it's not possible to create any custom properties, right? Outside of this, what Microsoft
It
is
is
providing.
it is allowed to create a custom properties. So if you go over here, Microsoft, I will show you how to create a custom properties as well.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. I'm just asking.
It is allowed to create custom properties.
Okay.
Property. What I wanted to say is, so here see, now I wanted to show the list of cities which I have maintained in my the list in list within the SharePoint. So I want to connect my drop down to the SharePoint list, and this is the custom controls that is not allowed. So someone will say that, okay, I want to have the color picker or the canvas where I will choose to sign the something and so on. So requirement will come where custom things is required, but initially my or our, I say our intention should be that what things are possible within the Microsoft in the readiness.
Microsoft. Mhm.
That makes a little bit harder in the beginning, but later on when maintenance comes or anything changed, Microsoft needs to be compatible with its own change. It does not consider our change because let's say I go and I simply create a fancy element with React and then Microsoft give another patch, and then patch breaks my element. I cannot go to Microsoft saying, okay, please support me. What's wrong here? Because they say, okay, this is not in the Microsoft order, or this is not supported by developed by Microsoft. So we can't support it. So we have to go internally and dig now what things have changed and remediate or rebuild their tool again. So that things has happened. And
Uh,
so only saying we can go with limitless customization. We can change the SharePoint look and feel and all those things by ourselves. But Microsoft is doing this continuous patching and updating. Then sometimes it happens that due to any patch or anything, Microsoft only take care of himself and his own packages, his own tools. He does not say, okay, the web part is deployed on this tenant, having some dependency with React and this version. They say, okay, that is your job. So that is what I have gone through. So then I came to this, let's say, this role or this point or this stance, that I will always go to Microsoft way first, and then if it is not at all possible, then I go for customization. That is,
Custom, yeah, it makes sense in your
yeah, that
case.
is the my thing. So here, if you
Uh,
see, this is the React thing. Why I did not consider this before? Because here we need to do some custom stuff, and understanding of React is required here. So once we have the React overview, we can check on this custom property. We will create one, and
okay.
we can see this is one component we need to create simply. Like if you see in the internally, you understand this is one component. The same component we need to create, and that component we need to import it over here. So same way we are importing a property pane configuration, we need to include. So let's say import our custom component from our custom namespace. That will be a syntax for us, and that namespace will be another component we will add here, and then we will simply add it over here in the property pane description. That is easy to customize things, but maintaining the customization steps things
Yeah, it's not easy.
bit difficult. And yeah, so now if you see here, it does not understand the color. That was the point where I left. uh, so why does not understand the color? Because it has given this Microsoft way.
We
So
don't have that.
property pane spfx, yeah. So it don't have that attributes available.
Mm.
So toggle I property pane toggle props, I can only see this one. So if I say checked, okay, I see checked. What is checked? Checked is of type boolean, means we can give either
Yes or
true
no?
or false. Yeah, yes or correct. So this is a toggle thing. I will keep this one here, and I say checked equals to true. This is always checked. Now I save this one. So if you go initially, this is our first page, and each certified is always unselected. Now I have in the configuration, make it such a way that it is initially when it loads, it should always go in checked.
So do we need to use any command, Nilesh, once we change or update any code in the editor? Is there any
When you make any code change in the code or in a web part, you mean, or
when we make change in the code, do we need to save the code or
we
directly
just
we
need to
can?
save the code. The expected behavior is that the nodemon will take care of our code and push the changes to the local. But my experience with the local, it is not always 100% sync. So if we make any change to the configuration or any major change in the code, it's better to build it again and the serve.
So build and serve means saving, right? I mean,
No, no, no. Once you control S is will save your code. Build is
control
for,
S.
yeah, build
Okay.
is for compiling your code from
Mm-hmm.
PS to
Yeah, yeah.
JS, and
Okay.
serve is pushing that into a local workbench. So this
Okay.
is our workbench. When I say gulp serve, it bundles my code, create a webpack. So I have shown that webpack is created right in the background. That is the one server kind of thing. And there our package is placed and the web part is available in the local category.
Once we have done any changes, then we have to save it by
Yes,
using control S. Okay.
correct, exactly. So here property pane, toggle check. Um, One moment. What I'm checking is the true value, how we are giving this true value in the property pane, because simply true is not taking up as a variable there. So checked is of type boolean. And inside this, do we have anything for true? Yeah, this is correct. And then creation we have revealed. So we see that many times our changes are not getting reflected correctly. Now you
Yeah,
see it's certified now selected. So in front of you, I have repeat the process same times. I build, I serve, I
yeah, yeah.
uh, redirect to the page, and I see my control was not selected. Again, I go back. I did not make any change. So the check is same, true. Again, I build, again I serve, and then my changes get reflected. So this is the issue, or let's say unresolved problem what we have with this local workbench. Once we deployed our change, sometimes it refer to the local version, and else we need to clear the cache each time, and then we can go for workbench. That is a cleaned approach, but we don't do that regularly during the development. So better to rebuild and republish it once. If still after two, three attempts, we still face the same issue, then we might go for rebuild and just reply. So you see now this changes is coming up. Now, sometimes when you see that I wanted to do some default values also, like, so let's consider our old scenarios where web part is coming up and I wanted to give Delhi as a capital for that always. So in the group field, I want to show when someone add my web part, by default, it should show the temperature or the weather forecast for the Delhi. So I want to change these things. So though there are two possible ways. One is like in manifest uh, .json. We can go for this description.default field value over here. So if you see over here, property pane WP is coming up here, and then this is my customized one. Here I can give like that. So here in the property, I can give the default values for those. What will be the default values for that? Now again, repeating the same process. Now let's see if we are in luck. We'll see. No. Got this? Gulps up. Go to my local web part. Give some time to load. And once it is loaded, he say Delhi. Now see, now the Delhi will come as a default field value for this. So accordingly, you can choose the default value for these, all the variables that we have, all the fields that we have added over here, and then will be coming up at default. Later on, you can say, okay, I want for Hyderabad or for Mumbai. And then you save this web part. Then your updated change will come. So this is one way to give the property pane. There is another way also to set that property pane value. We have, I mentioned in our last session, there are some life cycle management or the steps that the web part is taking sequentially in a given order. So we have this on init method is there. So on init method will always take the first when a web part is loaded, then this on init method is getting called. So within this on init method, what I will do, I will just say this dot properties dot description equals to city from on init on init method, and I will simply set this one. Then same process. Then gulp new workbench has been loaded. We will add our web and then we will edit the values. And still that values is not coming up. The same problem that we have with the description field, which is equals to. In this case, I will show you this workaround. Let's go for that workaround. I will go to the history. I will delete the cache. I will close this one. So let's close the browser itself. Then build it again. Then again doing the gulp sub. Hopefully this time it will take out change.
Yeah.
Going in a different screen. Asking me to log in. To see my login there. This one. I guess we are near to the time, but yeah, I will show you this one change, and then we will see your installation. Why it is not popping this change? This was my username. This is my password. Okay, welcome. I have entered MFA. This authenticate me. I feel please keep sign in. Then local web part, editing web part, and city from on init. You see? So there are two ways that we can give our default values to the properties. One is from the manifest.json here and the on init method. Now you see we have given it two times. Okay, first we give Delhi and then we give on init. Then why choose on init? Because of the life cycle. So that is important that we understand when this event will come. So first time it will see manifest has given, so it takes the manifest value when we are building the web part. Once this is built, it will go in the life cycle. It say on init. Then on init will override the values coming up from the manifest or the given properties. Then it will see this is my latest value, so I will choose this latest. So I will not go for Delhi. I will say city coming up from on init. This is my default value now. So doing the same thing, multiple ways are available. We can choose based on our requirement, what things we can do or where we should place. Suppose sometimes you see dynamically we wanted to give. So at runtimes we don't know. So we can't give any manifest or JSON. But at runtimes when we are querying anything or fetching it dynamically, that time we wanted to give default value. So then on init method is available. In that case, we can choose on init. But if we know that statically these values are the same thing, and it should always be the same thing as I mentioned, then we can go for manifest.json. That is my point of view. But based on the scenarios, ways are multiples. We can choose as we want. Yeah. So overall, that's all I guess for the web part that I wanted to show. Go and how we can add and all those things together: pages, groups, fields, configuring those fields, updating those fields, default values, and all those things that I wanted to give. If you have any doubts, you can note it down or you can just mail me over there. I will share this project on our Google Drive.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
You can take it for the reference. But if
Yeah,
you
yeah, Nilesh.
you
I will
can
try to do it myself in my environment.
yeah. But please try to be yours. Try to use your project first.
Yes.
Then you will face some errors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If yeah.
Maybe I will get chance to ask you tomorrow.
Yeah. Some questions comes and then we both have the
Yeah,
chance
yeah, yeah.
to brush up
Yes.
our things.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the okay. Then yeah. Do you want to show your change
Yeah,
or
yeah, Nilesh. Yes, yes, yes.
yep, it is visible. Yes.
So I have installed everything, Nilesh.
Yeah.
So as per this screenshot, set up to development environment.
Okay.
And I will just go to the Node.js, right?
Yes,
Just
exactly.
version.
Yeah.
It's installed, right?
Yeah, correct.
Check all the dependencies. So is this okay, Nilesh? I think
No,
everything
so
is
you need to switch to the directory that where your project is created or where you globally have installed this. So for example,
okay, okay,
you
okay.
created a project using Yeoman and then you do the npm install and then you check the dependencies.
Yeah.
Then you'll see that.
Actually, yeah. Let me C drive, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Anywhere where you
Anywhere.
have.
Oh, okay, anywhere.
So you can create a
One.
SPFx one.
SPFX one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I have to go here. MD, right? MDS.
Yeah, MDS for making directory, or you can create folder there manually, and then you can switch from here as well. That is also okay.
Oh, there is also.
You need to give space between MD and all. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
MD for make directory.
This is correct, right?
Yeah, MD SP, then it will create a folder for that same name SPFX. Okay. So you need to switch to that. So CD, change directory. So
CD.
CD space SPFX1.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and then
Hmm.
inside that you can create new directory and then switch to that directory and then start the human process. So Srini, what you
So
can do, you can create a project there. Then if you face any issue, then just you can drop me a mail. So in the evening, I will take a look on that, and maybe tomorrow we will have the look over there.
yeah,
And
yeah, Nilesh. Yes,
that
yes,
will take a
yes.
bit time for you because you're first time doing that. So doing
Hmm.
will get
Yeah,
time
yeah.
to. But yeah, try. Please try to do that once. Then we'll see.
Sure, Nilesh. Yeah, yeah. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Great,
It's a good checking session for me. I'll do that.
great.
Thanks, Nilesh. Have a
All
nice
right
day, huh?
then. Yeah.
Great
Okay.
session,
Yeah.
man. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you for your time as well. Have a nice day. Bye bye.